Hello students, myself Dr. Dakshayani, working as an assistant professor in Government First Grade College, Rajajinagar. So in my previous session, I discussed about transaction exposure and also I've discussed about the foreign exchange risk. So in this session, I'm going to explain you about translation exposure and also regarding hedging. So what do you mean by translation exposure? So many of the multinational companies, they operate or they carry on their activities in different countries through subsidiaries which intend to operate in the local currency. So most of the multinational companies ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು they conduct their business in different countries with the help of home subsidiaries, and these subsidiaries what they do is they intend to operate in their local currency. ಯಾವ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಲಿ ಅವರು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೋ ಆ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿಲಿ ದೇರ್ will be operating. Therefore, the subsidiaries have assets, liabilities, revenues and expenses measured in different units than the units used by which company? Parent company. So, ಈ subsidiary companies ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? They are going to establish their financial statements like assets, liabilities, revenues and expenditures, and these are measured in what? Different units, okay, of the different countries than the unit measured by which company? Parent company. ಇಲ್ಲಿ parent company unit ಅಲ್ಲಿ measure ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, but they are going to measure the financial statements in terms of the units in which they are carrying out their business. Translation exposure arises from what? Consolidation of assets and liabilities measured in domestic currencies into one reporting currency. Okay, so translation exposure, it arises from what? Consolidation of assets and liabilities. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ we need to consolidate what? Assets and liabilities, and it should be measured in what? Foreign currencies into one reporting currency. So all these foreign currencies should be converted into one reporting currency. So this is another important point to be noted in translation exposure, students. I am repeating, translation exposure, it arises from what? Consolidation of the assets and liabilities. Okay, assets and liabilities na ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? Consolidate ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, measured in what? Foreign currencies into one reporting currency. If the same exchange rate is used, okay, different units illa, bari same exchange rate is used to restate each asset and liability on income statement and balance sheet, there will be no imbalances resulting from the restatement. So this is also very much is clear that yavaga namge imbalances irutte andre only when you are restating the assets and liabilities athwa income statement in terms of the units of different currencies, avaga there will be imbalances. But if the same exchange rate use madre in order to restate these assets and liabilities and income statements, then there will not be any imbalances. Okay, so this is another important point to be remembered under translation exposure. If different exchange rates are used for different items on the financial statements, so financial statements alli if you are making use of different exchange rates, an imbalance will happen. So this is again the repetition of the same point. So yavaga imbalances irutte? Only when you are making use of different items athwa different exchange rates are used for different items on the financial statement. Okay, this restatement, what do you mean by restatement? Translation. What is this restatement also called as? Translation. It follows rules, okay, set by whom? A parent firm's government, an accounting association, or by the firm itself. Okay, so restatement athwa translation, it is done by following the rules which are given by the government of the parents company athwa any accounting association or by the company itself. Thus, since the translation process uses different exchange rates, so translationally ನಾವು different exchange rate use ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ for different items of financial statement imbalances will occur. So ಯಾವಾಗ imbalances ಇರುತ್ತೆ? Only the reason is that in translation exposure we are going to make use of the different exchange rates of different items for different items in financial statements. The key issue in this translation process is what to do with the resulting imbalances. ಈ ಥರ imbalances ಇದ್ದರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು that is the key issue. It is taken to either current income or equity reserves. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಶೋನ್ ಇನ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಆರ್ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ರಿಸರ್ವ್. Transaction and translation exposure, it appears in financial statements. Okay, so ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, both this translation and also transaction exposure, it will be shown in the financial statements, while economic exposures are impossible to observe in the usual accounting system. So usual accounting system ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆರೆ ಹಿಡಿಯೋದು ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ, economic exposures. Okay, why? Because economic exposures are something which is external, which cannot be controlled and which is subject to uncertainties. Okay students, thus economic exposure is often subjective and then difficult to measure. So economic exposure is very much subjective in nature and also it cannot be measure adre then it comes under what, it can be predicted in financial statements, but since it cannot be measured, then definitely it is considered to be subjective. Okay, I hope students you have understood about this translation exposure. Now there are different methods for measuring this translation exposure. So what is the first method that you have? The current, or which is also called as non-current method, and second one the monetary or non-monetary method, which is also called as temporal method in USA. And the third one you have is current rate method. I am repeating students, there are three methods for measuring this translation exposure. The first method is called as the current or non-current method. Second one, the monetary or non-monetary method, and this method is popularly known as temporal method in USA. The third one you have is current rate method. So let me discuss one by one all the three methods. The first method you have is the current or non-current method. So this method was widely used prior to 1976 in US. So US ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಯಾವಾಗ, 1976 ಮುಂಚೆ. The accounting principle behind this method is that assets and liabilities should be translated based on their maturity. So assets and liabilities will be translated only based on their maturity. So you just remember this word maturity. Okay, so in translation method all the assets and liabilities will be translated based on what, maturity in case of current athwa non-current method. All current assets and liabilities, so by which by definition have a maturity of 1 year or less. Idu gottide nimge, current assets and current liabilities, they mature within 1 year or less and they are translated into domestic currency. Andre these current assets and current liabilities enidyo, it will be translated into what, domestic currency at the current exchange rate. So at what rate it will be translated? It will be translated into domestic currency at what rate? At the current exchange rate. Then what do you mean with this current exchange rate? It is the exchange rate in effect on the date of what statement. ನೀವೇನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರೀಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ ಆ ಡೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿವೇಲಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು, that is, express this translation exposure. Understood? So I am repeating students, all current assets and current liabilities which by definition have a maturity of 1 year or less, they are translated into domestic currency. So it will be translated into domestic currency at the current exchange rate, that is at the exchange rate in effect on the date of the statement. Then coming to the next one, non-current assets and liabilities are translated not at domestic currency, at historic exchange rate. At what rate? At historic exchange rate. So what do you mean by at historic exchange rate? That is at the rate which were in effect on the date of assets were acquired and on the dates wherein the liabilities were incurred. Okay, non-current assets and long current liabilities andre enanta artha, fixed fixed assets and fixed liabilities. The definition itself says, students, what are fixed assets and fixed liabilities? Are those assets and liabilities which are acquired for more than 1 year. Okay, and fixed liabilities are those liabilities which are to be repaid after 1 year, okay, or for more than 1 year. So, illi we are going to translate at what rate? At the historic exchange rate. What do you mean by historic exchange rate? The rate which is that is which exists, okay, on the date of what? On the date when the assets were purchased, or on the date when these liabilities were incurred. Okay, so this is about the current or non-current method. Now moving on to the second method, which is the second method, the monetary or non-monetary method. As I told you, it is also called as temporal method in USA. An important feature of this method was the translation gains and losses could not be deferred. So deferred andre postponed. Illi translation inda ಏನೇ gains idru income idru ಅಥವಾ ಏನೇ losses idru ಅದನ್ನ defer ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, but provided it will be included in current income. ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? current income ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ include ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so that is all we have under monetary and non-monetary method, students. I am repeating, illi what they do is the translation gains and losses ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ it cannot be deferred ಅಂದ್ರೆ it will not be postponed, but most of the MNC company they will show it ಅಥವಾ they will include in current income. ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಏನು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಲಾಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಲಾಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? ಅದನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಯಿತಾ? The third method, which is the last method, is called as current rate method. An important feature of this new standard is that translation gain and losses are deferred and are accumulated on the balance of the parent corporation by passing the income statement. Okay, so illi this is just opposite to the previous one, which is the previous one, monetary or non-monetary method. Illi ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, that is the translation ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ಗೇನ್ಸು ಮತ್ತು ಲಾಸಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಡೆಫರ್ಡ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ಪೋನ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟೆಡ್. ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ? ಆನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಬೈ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಶೋನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡೆಫರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟೆಡ್. ಈ 4 ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ಸು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಒಂದೇನು? ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಗೇನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಾಸಸ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡೆಫರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ shown in the income statement of which companies? Parent company ಅಥವಾ corporation. Okay, so translation gains and losses, they are reported separately. So ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? they are reported separately, ಸೆಪರೇಟಾಗಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ and accumulated in a separate equity account. ಇದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿ accumulate ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? separate account called as separate equity account, named, what is that name? called as cumulative translation adjustment. ಅದನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? cumulative translation adjustment, and thus are reported directly to stakeholders equity. ಅದನ್ನು ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿಲಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ವಿ ಸೇ ದಟ್ the translation gains ಅಥವಾ translation reports are losses are reported separately. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? to the shareholders equity. how? by accumulating in a separate equity account. ಏನದು ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? ಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟಿವ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಅದನ್ನು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ಲಿ ಟು ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ. when the gain or loss of a given investment is realized, so ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಗೇನ್ ಆರ್ ಎ ಲಾಸ್, it is reported as what? net income or loss for the period. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ? net income or a net loss during that particular period. then the translation gains ಅಥವಾ losses due to this investment ಅದನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ it will be removed from the cumulative translation adjustment. ಸೊ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನೆಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೆಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಆ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂದ ಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟಿವ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, so I am repeating, whenever you have any gain or loss on account of investment, then it is reported as what? Net income or net loss for a particular period. Then this translation gains or losses, whatever you have due to this investment, it is removed from what? Cumulative translation adjustment. Allinda ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, I think all these three methods are very much clear to you. Now I'll move on to the next topic, hedging. What do you mean by hedging? Again, our previous session ali, first unit ali, I've already discussed about hedging. So illi in depth agi we are going to discuss what do you mean by hedging. Changes in exchange rate has led to foreign exposure. Of course, yavaga foreign exposure irutte only whenever there is any changes in exchange rate, which results in loss to a firm which needs to be hedged. So avaga whenever there is changes in exchange rate, then there will be a loss to the firm which has to be hedged and controlled. It needs to be eliminated or reduced. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಎಲಿಮಿನೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. The process of hedging is management of exchange rate exposure. So what do you mean by hedging? It is the process of managing exchange rate exposure. ಆ exchange rate risk ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಹೆಡ್ಜಿಂಗ್. Okay, this is a simpler meaning for hedging. Now let us move on to the actual meaning. Hedging is covering the loss. As I told you, what is hedging? It is nothing but covering the loss. Loss yavaga agutte? Only when there is fluctuation in exchange rate. It ultimately involves no gain, no loss. So yavaglu hedging alli, so it will be no gain or no loss. It involves the making of two equal and opposite transactions by the hedger, and if the price moves either way. So either if the prices moves up or moves down, what the hedger does is he makes two equal and opposite transactions so that there will be neither profit nor loss. The hedger loses on one transaction and he will gain on another transaction. This is a role played by hedger in the terms that we can also be called as an intermediary. Okay, so this is about hedging. I am repeating, hedging is covering the loss. It ultimately involves what? No gain or no loss. It involves that what does the hedger do? He makes, how he does is, it involves the making of two equal and opposite transactions by the hedger, and if the price moves either way. Okay, ಅವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ? ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಈಕ್ವಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ in these two opposite transactions. ಅಂದರೆ the hedger loses, if he loses in one transaction, he will see to it that he will definitely gain in another transaction. Okay, so this is the exact meaning of hedging. Now, hedging of transaction exposure. So how do you hedge this transaction exposure? The technique of hedging this transaction exposure is categorized into internal techniques and external techniques. So the first one you have is internal technique. This form a part of firm's regulatory financial management. So internal and takshana it is understood that it is a part of company's regulatory financial management, and they do not involve any contractual relationship with any party outside the firm. So everything, all the relationship will be within the firm and no contractual relationship exists with any party outside the firm. That is why it is called as what? Internal techniques. I am repeating, students, this form a part of firms, it is one of the part of the firm's regulatory financial management. ಅಂದರೆ ಕಂಪನಿದು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟರಿ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಒನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಎನಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಎನಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಫರ್ಮ್. The second technique is called as external techniques. This involves contractual relationship with any party outside the firm for ensuring against what? Potential foreign exchange loss. Illi we are taking the help of whom? External party. For what purpose? For ensuring any losses arising out of foreign exchange. So this is the difference between internal and external techniques of hedging what? Transaction exposure. So here under internal and external techniques we have some we have to discuss in detail about the internal and external techniques, students, which I am going to discuss in my next session. Okay, so I hope you all have understood this topic. So with this I am going to end my PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.